Welcome to Medica Nova Wellness Studio. I'm Dr. Angelika Maria Koch with the educational videos about optimal health and the most innovative and holistic approach to your well-being. As I was contemplating about our last video of this year, I had a very strong feeling about wanting to live more with inner peace, feeling of calm, and certainly with less irritated physical symptoms. So our last video of this year is all about how you can heal your irritable bowel syndrome with natural and effective therapeutic tools. So enjoy this video. I also would like to thank my ever-growing YouTube audience for your fantastic support throughout this year. By now, you get the idea that these educational videos are all about a new way of living. I'm delighted that more people are subscribing to the channel and share and like this video, so I'm super grateful. And for the ones who just joined this channel, to stay updated with more ongoing videos, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel, share and like it with your friends and family, and don't forget to have a look at my website medicanova.net at the online academy, where you will find comprehensive home study online courses in health and wellness coaching, homeopathy, integrated mental health, quantum healing, and so much more. And if you're interested in a personal health consultation, either for yourself or your children, contact me at help@medicanova.net. So let's have a look what IBS or irritable bowel syndrome is really about. The keynote is it can vary from person to person, and most of the time is triggered by stress or other lifestyle changes. Irritable bowel syndrome is a term used to describe a type of digestive disorders that's characterized by a sort of group of symptoms like changing of bowel movements, like for example diarrhea and constipation, and certainly abdominal pain. It affects more than 10% of the world population, and sure, it can affect anyone, but believe it or not, most common women are affected, and especially young to middle-aged women, sort of below 50 years old, because they're more stressed. Unfortunately, no tests can really confirm or really say or pinpoint that you have irritable bowel syndrome. Why? Because there are no structural problems to be seen, right? There's no blockages, or if we have an ultrasound or a blood test to say maybe there's an inflammatory condition, but nothing is really, hands-on here. It's very frustrating for the ones who suffer of pain. The good news is, once you have identified the symptoms and then treat them natural through lifestyle changes, a healthy diet, and of course therapeutic protocols, you can fully recover, right? It doesn't have to be a lifetime sentence. But what are the causes? As I said, it's sort of a broad range of it. It's digestive disturbances. Look for food allergies, right? Dairy, gluten, and mainly sugars here. You maybe have a physical blockage, right, in your colon. Look for that structural problem, lower back pain, right? It presses on the colon. Of course, are you exposed to chronic stress? Well, we all are, right? This is the modern world. Physical stress, right? Do you experience other pains in your body? And of course, emotional stress, right? Marriage problems, financial problems, how can I pay the mortgage? All of that. Your children are draining you, whatever. It's like that really triggers it. Also, I would say anybody who is affected with anorexia and bulimia, changes in sleep pattern, right? If your circadian rhythm is affected, it's a really big deal here. So women who go through menopause, then their IBS gets worse. And I would definitely say thyroid disorders. Now, researchers believe that the underlying cause of IBS symptoms is usually an abnormal functioning of the nerves, a lack of digestive enzymes, and irritated muscles. And I really think, yes, I can wholeheartedly agree with that. There's a triangle sort of combination going on between the enteric nervous system, our digestive system, and the brain. Absolutely. Now, stress is the biggest culprit here, since the gut is closely connected to the brain. And the two actually communicate with each other all the time via the vagus nerves, right in the middle of your sort of frontal part of your body. And it's like anything, which you receive via the central nervous system, your brain and your spine is hitting the digestive system. We call actually the digestive system the second brain. By the way, if you really want to learn about, integrated mental health and the combination and the link between the gut and the brain, have a look at this fantastic home study online course, which I just published on my website, medicanova.net. So stress and digestion are also directly related, because the gut is capable of producing or not producing a very important neurotransmitter called serotonin. It's important how you feel. And did you know that your gut is actually producing more serotonin than the actual brain itself? So, be kind to your gut down there. So what are the most common symptoms? As I said, it's sort of a kaleidoscope and you can't put your finger in, but there are certain things which should give you an idea that something is off. I want to look at your duration of symptoms, right? If you experience for at least 3 to 6 months, intense digestive symptoms, then, maybe refer to a doctor and start looking for some sort of common ideas about IBS. Besides the duration, I also would say frequency. So if you have at least 3 days of each month or even more constant digestive ailments, that may be a trigger here. For some people, maybe the symptoms occur in a cluster. So you have for 2 weeks really, really intense symptomatology and then nothing. Or others, they only maybe experience 1 or 2 symptoms. Now the summary is really look for changes of your bowel movements, right? Sort of including alternating diarrhea and constipation, thin stools that look like pencils, thin and long. The changes of the appearance, maybe there's mucus involved, the color changes. Definitely you would experience a lot of bloatedness, a lot of gas. People say, oh my God, I fart so much and I burp. And definitely the abdominal pains. Oh my God, that can be cutting, sharp, lancinating, can be often confused with menstrual period pains. Okay? There can be a confusion. Do you have an ovarian cyst or do you have IBS? All of that. There can be nausea, heartburn. Look for acid reflux. Often people feel relieved once they have gone to the bathroom and the stool came out, but only to come back again. If this goes on for a long time or many months, a lot of people go into anxiety and depression because they are suffering and they can't find any help. Because I've heard, the medical establishment saying, well, it's all in your head, just relax a little bit. Well, it's not good enough. I mentioned if you have changes of sleep pattern, insomnia, because it makes you fatigue, that can add to it. People also comment of an unpleasant taste in their mouth. As I said, muscles ache in the lower back can aggravate or trigger that, and definitely hormonal issues. It can also affect your frequency of urination, because now the compacted bowels are pressing on the bladder. I just want to clarify something. Irritable bowel syndrome is not the same as inflammatory bowel disease, right? Inflammatory bowel disease is much more intense, much more serious. In here we talk about Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis. So in this video, I really want to stress only irritable bowel syndrome. I want to keep it simple here. But what are the natural treatments? My favorite subject. So avoid, of course, all inflammatory foods. And researchers found that often high sugared carbohydrates, which tend to ferment in the gut, can be a trigger here. So anything which is oligosaccharides, disaccharides, monosaccharides, all the different kinds of sugars can really be a big culprit here. Then reactions to fibers are mixed, right? Some people benefit from it if they bring in psyllium husk and all that stuff. They love it, and some don't. That's why you have to really investigate what works for you. I certainly would start with an elimination diet. You want to look for anything which triggers these symptoms. I would say dairy, gluten, added sugar, refined flour, anything excess of caffeine and alcohol, of course. Some people are allergens to nuts, to shellfish, maybe to eggs even. Spicy food during the time, no. You want to have bland food when you have an irritable bowel attack. As I said, certain fruits, maybe which contain stones, could be even avocado, which usually doesn't really affect anybody. But you got to really look for it and really trust your instincts here. I used to have IBS a lot. Why? Because I'm a workaholic, right? It's like I stress out. And you know what triggered it in my case? Frozen blueberries. Now, who would have thought about that? Right? But it's the coldness going down into the bowels, and also the seeds in the blueberries. So, could be something very simple and even healthy. So what you need are enzymes, right? I mentioned before, lack of digestive enzymes is a big deal here. I would say you need a good probiotic, 50 billion to 100 billion units, because they recolonize the gut and create a healthy bowel flora. You also want to bring in digestive enzymes before your meal, and I would bring in systemic enzymes after the meal, so they break down the carbohydrate sludge. Now, digestive enzymes are based on amylase, lipase and protease. Systemic enzymes, they also look for for the whole body. So you bring in papain, bromelain as well, pancreatic enzymes, which are really important here. You want to bring in L-glutamine powder, which helps to heal the gut, especially for anybody out there who suffers from leaky gut, and most of us do. Aloe vera juice, which cools down this sharp and lancinating pains. I would say in an acute situation 3 times a day. Omega 3, 6 and 9, but particular 3 fish oils are very important here because they quench the inflammatory status of the guts. If you're suffering from hormonal imbalances, you maybe think about bringing in an adaptogen herb called ashwagandha from the Ayurvedic medicine. I usually bring in slippery elm, marshmallow root, mucilaginous herbs, which sort of slime the colon and therefore relieve this constriction. Fennel tea, ginger tea is all great, but my most favorite, top of all the lists is bentonite clay. It's fantastic because it really cuts through and it pulls out the toxins in the colon as well, and it calms down the sharp pain. I personally recommend the supplement from the American Botanical Pharmacy. The website is herbdoc.com from Dr. Richard Schulze. They have an intestinal formula number 2. I love it because it contains charcoal, bentonite clay, has already the slipperium and the marshmallow in there and other goodies. So that if you take about a teaspoon 3 times a day mixed with some fluid, it cuts through the pain very, very fast. Of course, you have to have some lifestyle changes. I mean, you can take all these supplements, but if you have a stressful life, if you can't sleep, you're just running your head against a brick wall here. It's not going to work. So, of course, high level of stress. Please have a look at what disturbs your life, what aggravates you, what makes you irritated. Is it somebody at your work? Is it, the environment you live even? Do you actually like where you live, right? All of that adds to it. Now, they say studies have found that anxiety, depression, personality disorders, and a history of childhood sexual abuse or any major trauma, of course, adds to the risk factors of experience IBS later on. So what can you do? I would say exercise is a big deal here because you have to move your body. In particular, you don't want to have a lax or a lazy bowel. Meditation, I would say homeopathy, I bring in acupuncture even, and just, bring in more joy into your life, right? Sort of keep up with your hobbies, go on jogging, have a walk, forget about sitting behind the computer all the time. You maybe have heard about fecal matter transplants. It's sort of a microbiota transplants that have been shown to have being effective. Now, I don't really support that in itself in my practice because that's not my field, but I think it needs a little bit more studies, but I just want to point that out. So let's talk about my favorite subject, homeopathy. With this combo, what I just told you, in introducing probiotics, digestive enzymes, systemic enzymes, aloe vera juice, mucilaginous herbs, glutamine, bentonite clay, and all of that, plus over-the-counter homeopathic remedies, you are able to kick this illness. I've done it many times, and I know it works that way very well. Homeopathy has proven a great track record in helping alleviate chronic symptoms. So even in 2005, they made a great study in the UK of at the Bristol Homeopathic Hospital, and they showed that 70% of patients with chronic diseases, including irritable bowel syndrome, had great success following the treatment. They had over 6 years trial, and they used 6,500 patients to really investigate if this is working, and it was a great success. The dosage plan with adults, I would say in an acute stage, 1 tablet 3 times a day for a week. And if you just want to do a maintenance, 1 tablet daily, maybe for a month. But if you're in doubt, please contact me at my practice, health@medicanova.net, or your local healthcare practitioner. The first remedy in mind is Lycopodium. Lycopodium 30 is a plant. And this remedy is very well suited to people who have a lot of food intolerances. And they can be to onions, to garlic, to oysters, beans, anything which creates flatulence, gas. The pains are usually worse in the evening, late afternoon, between 4 and 8. And there's a lot of passing of wind. I mean, these are the people who will say, I fart constantly and it's so embarrassing and it's loud and I don't know what to do with it. So there's, of course, an inflamed digestive tract present, and people can lose their appetite. Right? The food ferments, stays too long in the bowels, and therefore also the flatulence starts to stink. There's a lot of bloatedness going on. People, they're hungry, they have a plate in front of them, and they're full with just a few mouthfuls. And that shows, okay, something isn't working. They can also have, on a psychological level, a lack of confidence, right, inside, and they try to cover it up on the outside. The next remedy is called colocynthis. Difficult words, but you can find them over the counter in your health food store. I'm only dealing with easy to handle remedies. Here, the ones have terrible stomach cramps that are better for doubling up or putting a hot water bottle on, or even pressing hard into the pain. Pressure reliefs. And often it is aggravated after you had a row with your spouse. You felt there's a lot of indignation going on, a lot of anger going on. Pains can be very sharp, cutting and short and pinching. That's very specific for irritable bowel syndrome. And especially triggered after you have eaten fruit. Lower back pains, the pains can even affect your buttocks, and it's very useful, therefore, also a remedy for sciatica, specifically if it's on the left side. Nux vomica 30, fantastic remedy if you are prone to burn the candle on both ends, like a type A personality, workaholic, eating in excess, working hard, playing even harder. Eventually, this stressful lifestyle will take a toll on you, and especially the digestive system. Severe stomach cramps we have here. Look out for acid reflux, heartburn, and all of that is worse after mental exertion or a hard day's work. There can be hiccup, belching, fullness, indigestion is worse after coffee, alcohol, especially spicy foods. There can be even nausea. It's a great remedy right now for Thanksgiving, or the side effects or the after effects of Thanksgiving. I'm sure IBS is up right now. It's a great remedy for hangovers too, by the way. Nux vomica, think about that. Now, if your IBS symptoms are triggered by having consumed cold food, frozen food, drinks with ice cubes, and you are prone more to feeling cold and definitely more anxious, then think about arsenicum album 30. There could be also a great deal of diarrhea involved. Think about that. Regular sips of warm drinks make it better. So here you can see IBS varies with so many different symptoms. Some people are aggravated by cold and frozen food. The others are aggravated by a stressful lifestyle. The other ones are aggravated by eating food. See, this is important that you start tracking your symptoms and then match your individual symptoms with the right supplements and homeopathic remedies. Now, remember I talked about that there's a triangle combo between the nervous system, a lack of digestive enzymes, and irritated muscles. Now, if you're prone to anxiety of anticipation a lot, and you maybe, you go to an exam, or you have a job interview, or even the dentist, freaks you out, then think about Argentum nitricum 30. This is a remedy where there's a lot of wind involved, a lot of loud, forceful belching, even flatulence. There can be nausea, but it's all aggravated by sort of heightened nervous system. Right? And that's very important here. On the other hand, if your IBS is aggravated by eating too much bread, right, the thirst is increased and the food feels like a heavy stone, right, sitting there. There's a lot of belching, which is, also relieves the pain. And you taste undigested food, and you want to have, loosen your clothes, no tight clothing, and you want to just be still. Any movement makes it worse. Think about Bryonia 30. Now we're going to go through a few more remedies today because, as I said, it's a wide spectrum of symptoms. Carbo vegetabilis, fantastic remedy, well suited more to elderly people, where the IBS really creates a lot of weakness and fatigue and lots of burning pains. There can be cramps which feel like the stomach is being contracted, with a lot of bloatedness after eating, especially rich food, butter, fats. I would say it's a fantastic remedy for heartburns, where you have more the belching in the upper part and not so much the flatulence. But there is a weakness and there's a faintness even going on. Think about the fruit stuff. Stomach acidity with a great deal of bloating, bitter and sour belching. Think about China officinalis 30. Appetite swings from being ravenous, of being completely off food, and it's worse from fruit or milk, which aggravates the pains. And general, the digestion is very slow, and like with lycopodium, the food ferments here. It sits too long in the digestive system. Emotions. If you experience long-term grief, loss, and you feel you withdraw now, you don't even want to cry, you feel really upset, and your digestive system is therefore affected, I maybe suggest Natrium muriaticum 30. It's definitely worse when you are consuming more starchy food. There can be sour belching, terrible hiccups, of course, stomach cramps, and the strong emotions. The grief and the stewing over the past can aggravate the IBS. So, with all these homeopathic remedies and the suggested supplement and your diet and lifestyle changes, you should be good to go. The key here is consistency and staying with your protocol for a while. Remember, if you don't experience any symptoms for a few days, it doesn't mean you're cured, because irritable bowel syndrome comes and goes. It varies. So the healing of your intestines requires time, patience, and persistency. So, wishing you a peaceful and soothing holiday time and the best new year ever. Here at Medica Nova 2019, it was an especially creative year, also intense, personally, I have to say. But I'm so happy that now at the website I can offer at the Academy a really good package of comprehensive home study online courses. And also I now teach at the BioQuantum Academy in Canada, as well as the Scientific Medical Network in the UK. And maybe some of you know, but for 18 years I'm an adjunct professor at the University of New Mexico, and I teach a lot of students all this good stuff what I share with you here as well. So for 2020, I'm planning more webinars and more videos for you all. That's really what I want to focus on. So much love, take care, and have a happy new year.